This improvement in morning mobility often arrives quietly without dramatic announcement or fanfare. People notice it gradually and then suddenly realize how different mornings feel. Persistent joint pain, swelling, redness, or fever should always be checked medically. Morning stiffness that worsens rather than improves needs professional evaluation without question. But easing stiffness alongside other positive signals contributes to a clear pattern. The body adapting to fat burning often shows up in movement quality first. The scale is data, but it is never the verdict. Now it is time to return to the scale with new perspective. Early in a diet, weight drops quickly because glycogen water releases rapidly. Then the rate slows, and that slowdown feels exactly like complete failure. But that slowdown simply means the easy water shift is already over. Slower, deeper body composition changes are now the ones actually happening. Fat loss is not always dramatic or visible on a day-to-day basis. Some days the body retains water because of intense training the day before. Exercise creates tiny muscle damage that is completely normal and expected always. The repair process temporarily brings extra fluid directly into the working muscles. You might be losing fat and retaining water simultaneously without knowing it. The scale sees both happening and reports them together as one number. Salt intake, hormones, stress levels, sleep quality, and digestion all affect weight. Where a woman is in her monthly cycle significantly affects water retention too. The scale is one piece of data among dozens of available pieces. It is not a verdict, a judgment, or a measure of your worth. Use it if it provides genuinely useful information without creating emotional distress. Set it completely aside if it distorts your perception of real progress. Better tracking tools include waist measurement, clothing fit, and monthly progress photos. Track strength improvements, energy levels, hunger stability, sleep quality, and heart rate. Notice how your body feels climbing stairs, walking distances, or exercising regularly. Reading the full pattern tells the real and complete story. No single signal proves definitively that fat loss is actively happening right now. Morning breath alone could simply mean morning breath and nothing else significant. Thirst alone could have a dozen different explanations completely unrelated to fat. Feeling colder alone could mean the weather changed or clothing became insufficient. The power is in reading the complete pattern across multiple consistent signals. Multiple signals appearing together over time point toward the same clear conclusion. The body leaves evidence of its changes scattered across many different systems. Waist measurements going down while the scale holds completely still means something. Hunger becoming steadier while cravings significantly decrease is a meaningful pattern signal. Mental clarity improving after the first difficult 2 weeks confirms metabolic adaptation. Sleep consolidating after an initial rough and frustrating patch confirms adaptation progress. Resting heart rate trending downward over months confirms cardiovascular improvement happening. Clothes fitting differently confirms that body composition is genuinely and truly changing. Energy becoming more available on stairs and during exercise confirms real adaptation. The body is telling a complete story with many chapters and many pages. That story has far more information than one morning weigh-in ever reveals. The scale is one small data point among dozens of available meaningful signals. Use it when it helps and set it aside when it misleads you. The renovation happening inside your body does not pause because scales stall. It continues quietly and systematically until the changes become impossible to ignore. Fat-burning signs your scale will never show you. The scale is the most overrated tool in fitness. It sits on your bathroom floor measuring just one number. That number tells you nothing about what is actually happening. Fat, water, muscle, and digestion all look the same. The scale cannot tell the difference between any of them. This is why millions of people quit their journeys early. They watch the number refuse to move and assume failure. But biology does not follow a simple scoreboard or number. The body changes quietly, deeply, and in invisible ways daily. Understanding hidden signals is what separates quitters from people who succeed. Morning breath that smells fruity or chemical. Wake up tomorrow morning and pay close attention to breath. Most people experience standard morning breath after sleeping all night. Bacteria multiply in the mouth while saliva stops flowing overnight. That produces the familiar unpleasant smell almost everyone wakes with. But there is a different kind of morning breath entirely. This one has a fruity, metallic, or chemical nail polish quality. That specific smell is not about your dental hygiene routine. It is about what your liver was doing while sleeping. When carbohydrates run low, the liver breaks down stored fat. This fat-breaking process produces compounds the body calls ketones daily. One ketone in particular is called acetone by scientists everywhere. Yes, acetone is the same chemical found in nail remover. Tiny amounts of acetone escape your body directly through breath. This is your liver signaling that fat burning has started. For most people, the smell is mild and very temporary. It fades as the body becomes more efficient burning fat. The body stops overproducing ketones once it fully adapts metabolically. This morning smell is actually an encouraging and positive early sign. However, intense smell alongside vomiting or confusion needs medical attention. Diabetics noticing this smell should contact a doctor without delay. Increased thirst and much more frequent bathroom visits. During the first 2 weeks, many people feel suddenly very thirsty. The mouth feels dry more often than it ever did. Bathroom visits become noticeably more frequent throughout every single day. This feels strange and sometimes even alarming to most people, but there is a completely clear and simple biological explanation. Reducing carbohydrates causes the body to use its glycogen stores. Glycogen is stored carbohydrate sitting in your muscles and liver. Here's the part that most people never actually know. Glycogen binds water to itself, holding several grams per gram. When glycogen burns for energy, all that stored water releases. Suddenly, the kidneys have enormous volumes of water to process. This water rushes out, and the scale drops noticeably fast. Early weight loss looks impressive because it includes released water weight. That is not fake progress, and it's not misleading either. The body used its stored fuel and released what accompanied it. The real issue is that important minerals leave alongside that water. Sodium, potassium, and magnesium all exit with that released water. Their departure can cause muscle cramps appearing in calves and feet. That strange flickering eyelid twitch is also a mineral signal. Eating leafy greens, avocado, nuts, and seeds helps replace lost minerals. Hunger becomes steadier and far more predictable daily. One underrated sign of adaptation is a quiet shift in hunger. Early in dietary changes, hunger feels chaotic and completely unpredictable always. Blood sugar climbs sharply after eating and then crashes between meals. That crash triggers intense, urgent, desperate cravings for food immediately. The body panics because it cannot access stored fat efficiently yet. As adaptation continues, the body learns to use fat between meals. Blood sugar swings begin to calm down noticeably over time.
Insulin levels stabilize, and the body stops sending emergency hunger signals. The result is that hunger completely changes its texture and quality. It becomes a mild, gradual signal rather than a screaming alarm. You can go longer between meals without feeling shaky or irritable. Thinking about snacks every 20 minutes simply stops happening over time. You finish a meal and feel genuinely satisfied rather than desperate. You stop mentally planning the next meal before finishing the current. This does not mean hunger disappears, because that would be unhealthy. Appetite is a normal biological signal and should never be eliminated. But the shift from chaotic hunger to steady hunger is meaningful. Fat burning is becoming the body's reliable default mode between meals. That is metabolic adaptation, happening exactly the way it should happen. This shift is one of the clearest positive signs available to anyone. Mental clarity often improves after the initial rough transition. The brain is one of the most energy-hungry organs in existence. It consumes roughly 20% of total body energy every day. For years, scientists believed the brain ran exclusively on glucose always. Research has since established clearly that the brain also uses ketones. Ketones are those same fat-derived molecules the liver produces during adaptation. Once the body becomes efficient at producing ketones, something interesting happens. Mental clarity can noticeably improve for many people during this phase. The afternoon fog that arrives reliably around 2 or 3 disappears. Sitting down to focus no longer immediately produces scattered, unfocused thinking. Thoughts feel more organized, and attention feels genuinely more available consistently. This is not a guarantee, and certainly not universal across everyone. People respond differently to dietary changes based on their individual biology. The brain does not automatically upgrade because of simple food adjustments, but the pattern is well reported and completely biologically plausible to scientists. Fewer blood sugar spikes mean fewer disruptions to delicate brain chemistry. More stable energy means the brain is not competing for fuel. If your thinking has felt cleaner and more consistent recently, listen. That improvement is not imagination or wishful thinking or placebo effect. That is chemistry working in your favor after dietary adaptation occurs. Recognizing mental clarity as a fat-burning sign changes how you track progress. Your waist shrinks even when the scale stays still. Here is where the scale's fundamental limitation becomes completely and totally visible. The scale measures total weight and absolutely nothing beyond that number. It does not know whether that weight is fat or muscle. Water, digestion, inflammation, and food in transit all register identically. Body composition, the ratio of fat to muscle, is invisible here. This is exactly why waist measurement is a more useful tool. If your waist is getting smaller, something real is genuinely happening. Visceral fat stored around the abdomen and organs is being reduced. That is meaningful and important progress regardless of what scales show. Clothing fit tells this exact same story in a very clear way. Jeans that were uncomfortably tight become comfortable without any explanation, apparently. A shirt that strained across the stomach now sits completely differently. That change in fit is body composition shifting in the right direction. The scale may not have moved because muscle was simultaneously preserved. Resistance training adds or preserves muscle mass while fat is dropping. Muscle tissue is denser than fat and carries significant weight itself. Losing fat while maintaining muscle can make the scale appear frozen. The body is changing shape dramatically while the number stays identical. Measuring your waist every 2 weeks is more informative than daily weighing. Progress photos monthly in consistent lighting add another powerful layer of evidence. Digestion changes as your gut bacteria begin adapting. The digestive system is one of the first places to register change. It registers dietary change loudly and rarely with any subtlety at all. When you alter what you eat, trillions of gut bacteria notice. Those bacteria have been fully adapted to your previous eating patterns. Suddenly changing their food supply forces them to adjust their populations. That adjustment period is frequently uncomfortable for the person experiencing it. Some people experience constipation as fiber sources change during the transition. Others experience more frequent bathroom visits during the first adjustment week. Bloating is extremely common during the first 1 to 2 weeks. The digestive system behaves like software receiving an update without instructions. This is a completely normal part of the body's adaptation process. Gut bacteria need time to shift toward strains that suit better. Soluble fiber helps ease this uncomfortable transition for most adapting people. Chia seeds, flaxseed, berries, avocado, and vegetables are excellent fiber sources. Increasing fiber intake must be gradual rather than aggressive and sudden, always. Moving from minimal fiber to maximum fiber overnight creates significant discomfort. Drink adequate water alongside every increase in your dietary fiber intake. For most people, digestive discomfort settles within 2 to 4 weeks. The gut adapts, bacteria rebalance, and digestion returns to comfortable function. Severe pain or blood in stool must always be evaluated medically. Sleep gets disrupted before it eventually becomes much better. Sleep changes are among the least discussed signals of metabolic transition happening. In the first 2 weeks, some people experience a frustrating nightly pattern. They fall asleep without difficulty, but wake suddenly in early morning. 2 to 4 in the morning becomes an unwelcome and familiar hour. Falling back asleep after this early waking feels nearly impossible sometimes. This happens because blood sugar regulation is still actively adapting nightly. When fuel availability dips during sleep, the body triggers a response. Cortisol and adrenaline release to stabilize blood sugar and restore energy. Those stress hormones are extremely effective at their specific biological job. They are also extremely effective at waking people from deep sleep. This early morning waking pattern is typically temporary for most people. As the body adapts to burning stored fat through the night, stability returns. Blood sugar holds steady without needing stress hormones to intervene constantly. Sleep consolidates, and many people report genuinely deeper rest after adaptation. However, sleep disruption that continues and worsens beyond 2 weeks matters. Poor sleep increases hunger hormones and raises cortisol levels significantly daily. Cravings intensify, stress responses escalate, and fat loss becomes harder overall. Treating ongoing insomnia as proof that the diet is working hard misses everything. The body records sleep deprivation as a genuine and serious stressor always. It responds to that stress by holding on to stored fat more stubbornly. Feeling colder than normal can actually signal real progress. Many people notice they feel colder than usual during active fat loss. This cold sensitivity happens for several different biological reasons working together. Body fat functions as physical insulation throughout the entire human body. It literally helps retain heat by slowing how quickly heat escapes. As fat mass decreases, some of that insulating layer gets removed naturally. The body loses heat slightly more quickly than it did before. Additionally, reduced calorie intake causes the body to adjust its energy output. The body generates slightly less heat when total energy availability decreases.
This is the body being intelligent and adaptive, not being destructive deliberately. Mild increased cold sensitivity during fat loss is common and not alarming. The distinction that truly matters here is between mild and extreme cold.
Mild cold sensitivity is feeling slightly chillier than you previously remember feeling. Extreme cold means feeling constantly frozen, exhausted, dizzy, and barely functional daily. Persistent extreme cold alongside fatigue may mean calories are cut too aggressively. Thyroid function might also be worth evaluating if extreme cold persists long. Another underlying factor requiring medical attention may also be present sometimes. Fat loss done at a reasonable pace should not make life miserable. The goal is a body-changing composition while still functioning completely well. Feeling slightly chilly is acceptable and expected during this biological transition period. Feeling like a cold ghost who cannot function is a different situation entirely. Resting heart rate gradually trends downward over consistent weeks. As cardiovascular fitness improves, the resting heart rate follows a downward trend. The heart becomes more efficient at delivering blood with each individual beat. It needs to beat less frequently to maintain adequate circulation throughout. The nervous system calms as metabolic chaos decreases over consistent weeks. The body stops relying on stress hormones to manage energy constantly. A typical resting heart rate for adults sits between 60 and 100. Trained individuals often sit comfortably below 60 beats per minute consistently. What matters more than any specific number is the directional trend over time. If your resting heart rate is measurably lower after 2 consistent months, notice. That lower heart rate alongside better energy is a meaningful and positive signal. Many fitness trackers and smartwatches now track resting heart rate automatically daily. This makes it one of the easiest long-term metrics available to everyone. You do not need expensive equipment or clinical testing to track this. Simply check your tracker each morning before getting out of bed consistently. Watch the number trend over weeks rather than reacting to daily fluctuations. A very low heart rate with dizziness or chest pain is different. That combination is a medical concern and not a fat-burning efficiency signal. The heart is not where anyone should be conducting personal experiments casually. If concerning symptoms accompany a very low heart rate, seek medical attention. Gradual improvement over time without symptoms is the pattern worth celebrating here. Less morning stiffness signals inflammation may be quietly decreasing. Some people report waking up feeling noticeably less puffy as adaptation continues. That tight, stiff, achy morning feeling begins to gradually ease over time. Joints feel more mobile and movement feels less restricted than before adaptation. Less stiffness in the morning is a subtle but genuinely meaningful signal. Weight loss itself reduces mechanical stress placed on joints every single day. Every pound of body weight lost reduces 4 pounds of joint pressure. Better sugar control also reduces systemic inflammation throughout the entire body. Improved food quality means fewer inflammatory compounds entering the system regularly. More consistent daily movement lubricates joints and reduces morning stiffness significantly over time. Ketones may also carry some anti-inflammatory effects in certain metabolic contexts too. The less dramatic but equally real benefit is simply moving more comfortably. Waking up without immediately cataloging which body part hurts most is progress. Getting out of bed with that creaking, resistant feeling is real change. Ankles that used to protest every morning eventually stop filing their complaints.